There's been an interesting phenomenon in indie games I've been noticing for a while, and that's been the slow progression of the genres and styles. Here's what I mean. Most of the first big modern indie games, as we would define them now, were usually pixel art platformers. Meat Boy, Cave Story, maybe some Zelda influence, like stuff like Fez. As we progressed and more people had access to the tools needed to make even a 3D game for free, we got a lot more games that paid tribute to early 3D gaming. Boomer shooters, 3D platformers, an immensity of PS1 style survival horror games. Hell, we even got a Thief spiritual successor coming in Gloomwood. I've been waiting now for a bit to see indie games inspired by my favorite gaming generation, the PS2. I want DMC1 clones, Vice City likes. Give me the Attitude era of platformers already. These were my favorite games growing up. Ratchet & Clank, Jak and Daxter, Sly Cooper, and of course, Sonic Adventure. Spark the Electric Jester 3 is a lightning-fast 3D platformer where you play as Spark, this little H.H. Gregg meets Sonichu looking motherfucker. This is the third game in the Spark the Electric Jester franchise, no shit, but the first I've played. The first one seems like a good mix of Sonic and Mega Man, but these last two have been full 3D platformers, with a dash of hack and slash. The platforming here is pretty much exactly what comes to mind if you were to imagine a Sonic Adventure 3. Giant floating highway courses with speed pads, loop-de-loop. It's hard to talk about this game and not just go Sonic, 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 but at the same time, I mean, look, it's like talking about Planet Coaster and not mentioning Roller Coaster Tycoon. There's no hiding the legacy here, nor would the dev want to. And so the best compliment I can give Spark 3 is that, yeah, it's the best 3D Sonic game made yet. And I was a big fan of those PS2 era ones. I even loved Shadow the Hedgehog as a kid. Level design, I would say, on the whole, is better than any of the Sonic Adventure games. It feels less on rails with multiple routes and more chances to gain speed and fly right over huge stretches of the course. You can achieve a ludicrously high speed in this game that feels both earned and a bit dangerous. You get a lot of those, oh shit, I'm going too fast moments right before you die. You can also go through a level more methodically and find bonus medals. There's a surprising amount of secrets and side paths in this game. Most levels are your standard get to the finish line, but there's also a few coin hunt ones similar to the Knuckle Gem Hunt levels, and score attack types that are similar to a Tony Hawk level. There's also these car stages that were apparently scrapped from another game the dev was working on, which sounds like it'd be a recipe for the worst stages in the game, but I actually really enjoy them. It's a very drift-heavy driving, like F-Zero. I would play this full game. The art direction for the levels can range anywhere from, yeah, this feels like a Sonic fan game, to, holy shit, Team Sonic could never. The music, by the way, is top tier. One of the best parts of the game. It was this track in particular in the trailer that really pushed me to get the game. If you put breakcore in your game, I will buy it. You do have those moments where you suddenly lose momentum or you won't magnetize to a surface like you're supposed to. If you've played literally any 3D Sonic game ever, this should feel pretty familiar. Homing attacks will also target a random enemy sometimes instead of the one right in front of you. Really, there were a fair amount of bugs here and there, nothing major besides those two, but yeah, it does feel like overall the game could have used a bit more QA. The game's not all platforming though. Sometimes it wants you to fight, unlike Sonic that means more than just spam homing attack. The combat system here seems to be mostly inspired by Metal Gear Rising, if you can believe it. You can combo light attacks, heavy that sends people flying, there's even a block and a really satisfying parry. The game doesn't do a whole lot with this, even with turning the difficulty up, you can basically spam the same combo through most encounters. There's not a lot of options beyond the basics. You have these different forms you can swap to, but I don't think they change anything besides the animations. All in all, it ends up being more satisfying and flashy than the majority of melee combat systems, which is fine enough to me. The combat and platforming are very distinct parts of the game. You could run past most enemies until a barrier comes up and then you have to fight them. I think if the game could combine its movement and its combat mechanics, you could have something really special. The bosses are an especially missed opportunity, as none of them ever really require movement beyond running out of the way of attacks. There's probably a good deal more of mastery and hidden tech over the movement to make combat flashier, but nothing in the game ever requires or encourages you to learn. Okay, let's talk about the story real quick. It's utter nonsense. I know I'm jumping into the third game in a franchise with no prior knowledge, so I can't really say anything, but still, I can confidently say this is a nonsense story. I'm not even saying it's bad, because I know a certain demographic loves stories like this, but most of the stories told in these TV expository text segments is all just like the backstories of the characters from the last game I haven't met yet. And then the ending is like the entire real story of the game, shoved in a long-ass Matrix 2 style lore dump cutscene. It's all just like I've hopped into the most obscure Kingdom Hearts side game imaginable. But all in all, nah. The story doesn't get in the way of what is still a very fun game with some good style. The series are made by pretty much a single passionate Brazilian dude with some additional help from music and art, which makes it all the more impressive. I can highly recommend Spark 3 for anyone with a love for this era of gaming. Or even if this game just looks fun to you, I assure you it is.